Learning English with Manga Mmbagha. Welcome to a session of question and answers. This session trains you to give short responses to short answer questions. Question number 6A. What is symbolism as a word formation process? Describe 3 ways or processes of word formation by symbolism. Response. Symbolism is the process by which words change their structure or form, that is morphology, very slightly and form new words. There are 3 ways by which words are formed by symbolism. 1. Slight change of phonemes. The change may involve consonant phonemes, for example, have becomes had, build becomes built, or the change may involve vowel phonemes, for example, hide becomes hid, bind becomes bound, pride becomes proud, feed becomes fed. Two, whole word change. For example, go becomes went, which would be regarded as suppletion. Symbolism and suppletion do not seem to differ and may be confused one for the other. This process of word formation should not be confused also with onomatopoeia, which is also called echoism. 3. Another notion of symbolism is the association of echoism and onomatopoeia, which is the least significant type of symbolism. It is simply imitative of sounds or suggests something that makes a sound. Some examples being crash, bang, whoosh, meow, row, ugh, cuckoo, splash. Question 6b. With examples, write short notes on the following linguistic terms. A. Root, stem, and base. B. Allomorphs. C. Pejorative prefixes. D. Back formation. E. Onomatopoeia. F. Clipping. G. Blending. Response A. Root, stem, and base. The root of a word is that part in the structure of the word which basically carries the lexical meaning of the lexicon, which is in correspondence with the idea, object, thing, or concept. A word root is the main part of a word that is not a complete word itself. The root of a word or root becomes a word after something, that is an affix, has been added to its beginning or end. The stem, on the other hand, is the part of the lexicon to which more affixes are attached. However, some stems are also roots. The stem is already a word, that is, a lexicon. For example, nation is a root. National becomes a stem since it can be further affixed as nationalize, nationalism, nationalization, nationally. The root -m means love and is not a word but becomes a word when agglutinated, that is, joined as follows: amiable, amicable, amity. Likewise, dash brave dash, which means short, is a root whose agglutination renders abbreviate, brevity, and abbreviation. Base. A base is a form to which a rule of word formation is applied. A base is therefore an element that can be used to build words. For example, happy, credit, dread, kind becomes happiness, discredit, dreadful, kindness. Bases may be from stems, which are the parts of a word that remain after every affix has been removed. For example, friendly, if we remove li, it becomes friend, and friend is a stem. Friendly is the base of unfriendly, that is, un is an affix, friend is a base, li is an affix, where friend is a base and friendly is another base. Therefore, un prefix, friendly, base. Un prefix, friend, base, li suffix, friendly, base. Or un prefix, friendly, base. B. Allomorphs. Morphemes may at times exist with varieties such as in the case of the plural morphemes, as in cats, the dogs, the glasses, the is. Where it happens so, variants of the morpheme are known as allomorphs. The plural morpheme s has allomorphs s, z, and is. S, z, and is are allomorphs of the plural morpheme s. Furthermore, the English language has borrowed words or terminologies from the Latin and Greek, and therefore has imported Greek or Latin plural morphemes as follows. The plural morpheme s has allomorphs as follows. I, as in stimuli, singular was stimulus. E, as in algae, singular was alga. As in data, singular was datum. Is, as in crisis, singular was crisis. Isis, as in indices, singular was index. Response G. Blending. New words may be formed by a process known as blending, where words such as motel and branch are formed. Words are formed by merging the sounds and meanings of two or more other words or word parts. Words formed by blending are also termed portmanteau words, telescoping, lexico-interlocking, or semantic conflation. In blending, two different bases are joined to form a new word. For example, breakfast and lunch becomes brunch. Sometimes it happens by chance. Kiswahili and English becomes Kiswanglish. The word just slipped from the lips of a speaker unintentionally. But in most cases, it is intentional, especially in the business industry. For example, select and electric becomes selectric. Sony and technology becomes Sonytech. Question and response. Question 7a. Give 5 differences between denotative and connotative meaning. Connotation is the associative meanings. The simple meaning of a word is denotation that differs from the layers of deeper meaning of connotation as given by Roland and Barthes, who lived between 1915 and 1980. Barthes believed that social contexts and histories contribute to linguistic meaning. For example, lion denotes big, wild, predatory cat, while the same may connote somebody brave and strong, a brave, strong, fierce person. The two concepts differ as follows. 1. Denotation refers to the specific object or concept that a word signifies. That is to say, it is more or less the dictionary definition of the word, while connotation is the range of associated meanings that the word signifies depending on the context and user's worldview. 2. Denotation is the literal meaning, but connotation is the non-literal meaning, which may be associated with feelings or experiences. 3. Denotation is the idea of the signified, that is, implied meaning. Connotation, on the other hand, refers to the ideas that are behind the word that implies and is not so literal. You could call it the subtext. 4. The meaning of denotation is explicit as defined by the dictionary, and the meaning of connotation is implicit, only understood in the context. 5. Denotation is the precise definition of a word. Connotation refers to the variety of associations and is subjective. Question 7b. Explain briefly 5 stages of listening. Response. Listening is an active process of receiving, constructing meaning, form, and responding to spoken as well as non-verbal communication. This process involves 6 stages, 5 of which are: 1. Receiving. The first interlocutor, that is, a person who takes part in a conversation, sends an encoded message, and the listener, the second interlocutor, receives the encoded message. 2. Understanding. The receiver, that is, second interlocutor, receives the encoded message and decodes or interprets it to make sense out of it. 3. Remembering. The receiver or listener recalls the uttered, articulated, or spoken words and associates them with the actual context of the conversation. 4. Evaluating. The listener makes a judgment about what the speaker has uttered, that is, spoken. The listener should discriminate, that is, distinguish the speech to understand and make correct judgment of the sense. And 5. Responding. The listener gives a feedback of what he or she heard and understood.